Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this short introduction to studying music at Long Road. My name is Lizzie Rowlands and I am the course team leader for music here, and I'll be taking you through the course in general, some of the elements of studying the course, and then later in the session we'll be talking to one of our current students so that you can get an idea of what it's like to study music here from a student's perspective. Thanks, Chris. So you can see a few shots there of the music department in action. It's a very lively place, it's a very welcoming place, it's a very inclusive place, and I think you'll get an idea from listening to Jasmine later about all of those things, those elements of the department. There are just a few members of staff teaching in the department, so there's myself. We also have Chris Seaman, who is our technician, Ralph, who is our accompanist and also works as a support teacher, helping out in general across the department. And then in terms of facilities, we have one main large teaching room, which has our grand piano in it, and a drum kit and a PA setup, as well as all of our desks, but it also has a suite of PCs, which are running with audio interfaces and MIDI keyboards, so that you can access music software in there for the more tech elements of the course. So there are 4 units which we study across the 2 years. We study 2 of those units in the first year and 2 of them in the second year. We study in the first year Unit 2, Professional Practice in the Music Industry, and Unit 5, Music Performance Session Styles. And in the second year, we move on to Unit 1, Practical Theory and Harmony, and Unit 3, Ensemble Music Performance. And over the next few slides, I'm just going to introduce you to those units in a little bit more detail. So Unit 1, Practical Theory and Harmony. A few key bits of information. The initials GLH stand for Guided Learning Hours. So that's how long the exam board expects us to spend studying this unit. So 90 hours. It's a mandatory unit, so you have to do it in order to gain the qualification. It's internally set, so I set the assessment tasks, and it's internally assessed, so I mark the students' work on the unit. It then has to be moderated. It's sent off to the exam board, sample of work, so that we can check that all of our marks are in line with the national guidelines, but it is marked by me. So as part of that unit, I want you to notice the term practical theory and harmony. So as with the majority of this course, all the learning that we undertake is done through practical work. So we are playing, we are performing, we're exploring music on our instruments and using our voices, and doing composition tasks in order to learn about the theory and harmony of music. So we begin by looking at the elements of music, so rhythm, pitch, tempo, expression, and how those elements can be communicated, largely visual communication, so how you might write those down. Not just using traditional staff notation, but also alternative forms of notation like guitar tab, drum tab, graphic scores. So even people who have not had any education in music theory or music notation up until this point are going to be able to access the unit. There's no expectation that you need to be able to read music before you begin this unit or this course. Once we've done that, we move on to looking at how scales are constructed, how we can build chords, how we can turn chords into chord progressions, and then how we can use all of those ideas as a performer, and how we can communicate our musical ideas when we're working in the roles of songwriter or producer or composer or arranger. So the unit, like I say, is very practical, and we're constantly playing and exploring all of our ideas musically. Thanks, Chris. Unit 2 is called Professional Practice in the Music Industry. Again, it's 90 guided learning hours, but this time it's externally set and externally marked. So the brief for the assessment is set by the exam board, and then once the students have completed it, we send that work away and it's marked by the exam board. It's a really interesting unit because it allows us the opportunity to study the different roles within the music industry, not just the roles that you may immediately think of or be familiar with. So we move away from the idea of just being a performer and look at the roles that surround the performer. So we look at roles within venues, within record labels, within education, within the recording industry, and also things that are slightly further removed and we may not normally consider. So the legal side, music law and copyright, insurance, budgeting, financial side. So we really do get to grips with the music industry in its most holistic sense. The way that the unit is finally assessed is that, having studied all of those elements, we are set a brief, a scenario by the exam board, something from within the music industry. So it might be organising an event, it might be a film, it might be some kind of battle of the bands thing, it might be making a blog or a vlog. Whatever that brief is that's set by the exam board, the students have to approach it professionally and write a report on how they would organise that event or create that product or run that business. And they do that in controlled conditions within the classroom. Thank you, Chris. Unit 3, Ensemble Music Performance. So this is the biggest of all 4 of the units, and this is the final unit that we do. So we do this at the end of the second year. Again, it's mandatory, so the students have to study it. It's externally set and externally assessed. And it's a really enjoyable unit. The students work in bands, in ensembles. They are given a list of songs by the exam board, and they have to pick 3 of those songs, rehearse the songs and perform them as a band in any style that you choose. So you don't perform it in the style of the original, you have to change the style, that's part of it. And then you have to complete 5 tasks as part of that project. So you will have one of your rehearsals recorded, and then following that recorded rehearsal you will undertake a rehearsal debrief where you will talk to me about that rehearsal, how you felt it went, what you learned from the rehearsal, what targets you could set yourself going into the next rehearsal. All of that rehearsal process leads up to a final performance where you and your band perform all 3 of those songs. And then following the performance, you will give a presentation on how you changed the style of those songs. So what was the original style and what did you do to change it into a new style? And then you will write a critical review. So that's a log and evaluation of the entire process from when you first got the song list to when you gave your performance. And you're reviewing how your skills developed across that time and what you learnt about the musical styles that you were working in across that time. Thanks, Chris. And then a very similar unit, but the one that we do in the first year, almost as a preparation for Unit 3, is Unit 5, Music Performance Session Styles. This is the smallest of the units. It's only 60 guided learning hours. It's again internally set and internally assessed. And it's our first opportunity to study lots of different popular music styles. So we work our way through. We start with blues and we do spend a week studying blues, learning about its history and performing in that style. And then in each of the subsequent weeks, we move on through the different musical styles. So we'll have a week where we focus on folk, on country, on jazz, on rock, on soul, and so on, until we have covered all of those basic musical styles and the subgenres within those musical styles. And then once we've looked at all of those in turn, Then again, the students working in bands, you are going to choose songs, rehearse and perform them in different styles. And the whole way through that process, you are keeping a log of your rehearsals, making sure that you are noting how your own personal technique is developed, and how you are setting yourself targets and improving based on those targets, and learning about those styles in more detail. So like I say, in the first year, we're studying this unit, Unit 5, and Unit 2, the industry unit, and in the second year we move on to the music theory and harmony, and Unit 3, the other performance unit. Thanks, Chris. So in total, that works out as 75% coursework and 25% exam. When we say exam, we're not talking about a traditional exam in the way that you might sit for a GCSE or an A-level at the end of the academic year in an exam hall. When I say exam, I'm talking about work that is carried out under controlled conditions. So you are in the classroom, you are not allowed to talk to other students, you're not allowed to bring anything in that hasn't already been approved, but it's not really an exam. So you get preparation time, for example. So before the exam, you're allowed to prepare a sheet of notes, which you can then bring into the exam with you, and then the exam really is just typing up those notes. So it's a much more accessible way of completing the work. And if exams are something that you struggle with or that you feel uncomfortable with, then you shouldn't let that put you off this course. The way that this course is assessed is that the assessments take place across the 2 years rather than in one exam at the end. And that's really what makes applied courses different to A-levels. So this is an applied course, meaning that there's continuous assessment rather than one big exam at the end of the 2-year course. So, as I said, this is an applied course. It is an extended certificate, which means it is the 1 A-level equivalent. And if you have a look at that chart on the slide, you can see that at Long Road, something that we're really proud of is the fact that you are able to create your own study programme that combines applied courses with A-levels. So you can see the different options in front of you. You can either just study A-levels, in which case you would have 3 A-levels to make up your programme, or you can just study applied courses, so that might be 1 extended diploma, or 3 courses the same size as this one, 3 extended certificates, or you could do a diploma which is worth 2 A-levels plus an extended certificate, or you can mix up the applied courses and the A-levels. So a lot of the students that study music, that's what they do. So music is one of 3 courses for them, and their other 2 courses are either 2 A-levels or an A-level and another extended certificate, and that makes up their complete study programme. But there is a lot of flexibility there that you can really make the most of when you are selecting which courses you're going to study. Next. So just to clarify that, so this is available as an extended certificate, and that is a 60 credit course, which is the equivalent to 1 A-level, which means that it takes up the same amount of time on your timetable as 1 A-level, and also it is the equivalent to an A-level when you're going on to apply for university, if that's what you choose to do. Thanks. So in addition to studying the units that make up the course, we also try and give a much more enriched experience to our students. And we do that by bringing in visitors, by offering workshops and by running trips. Obviously, at the moment, some of those activities are slightly limited. In the meantime, we're doing things as fully as we can remotely, but hopefully by the time you join the college, these things will be up and running fully again. So just to give you an idea of some of those things, we have a speaker in from PRS for Music, which is the music licensing company. So the people who deal with getting money from people who play music and giving that money to the people who originally wrote and recorded the music. So we have a speaker who comes in and talks to the students about the music industry. We try and have an annual performance and workshop from BIM. BIM is the British and Irish Institute for Modern Music, one of the leading contemporary music colleges in the country. Their students come in and perform to our students, and we have an opportunity to talk to them about what it's like to study music at a music college after your A-levels or your sixth form time. We have workshops from instrumental specialists who are able to work with in a masterclass way with people who play that instrument in order to develop their skills that way more specifically, and we try to get a better perspective of the industry as a whole by inviting in a freelance musician who's able to talk about their experience within the industry as well. So that's just a handful, and we're trying to build on those every year and increase the number of people who come in and speak to students, so that you have, like I say, the best understanding of how the industry works as you possibly can before leaving here and hopefully going into the industry following your studies. Thanks, Chris. So, enrichment opportunities. We have a choir running, and we also have a pit band running. So both of those are open to everybody. The choir is open to everybody who wants to join. The pit band is open to anybody who plays an instrument. And we run weekly rehearsals. They are currently remote because we're keeping the year groups separate, but also still trying to keep them working together. But normally they would be weekly rehearsals in college during enrichment time, which all the students have on their timetables. With those ensembles, but also with our music students, we also put on several performances every year. So we have a Christmas concert and we have a summer showcase, but we also have half-termly open mic events. So at the end of each half term, everybody, all the students in the college are welcome to sign up for a slot to take part in our open mics. And they are an opportunity for people to build their performing skills, to develop their confidence, and then hopefully to then have the confidence to sign up and join in with open mic sessions at venues around Cambridge, not just in college. And we try and put on a production every year as well, which the music students are involved in. This year, again, sadly, that we haven't been able to do that, but we're aiming to do another one next year. So examples, we've done a production of Chicago. Last year we did Into the Woods by Stephen Sondheim. So if you're interested in musical theatre as well, then you have those options open to you too. So that leads me on to our student who is joining us this evening. So I'm going to introduce you to Jasmine. So Jasmine is a Year 2 music student, and she is also studying biology A-level and psychology A-level. So welcome, Jasmine.
Hello.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions about music at Long Road. So first of all, tell us a little bit about you as a musician. What do you play or sing?
I sing, so I'm a singer. I do kind of more poppy kind of stuff most of the time.
And is that what you enjoy listening to as well, Jasmine? Pop stuff?
Yeah, I like listening to pop and soul quite a lot as well. I like listening to, actually sometimes I like listening to classical stuff as well. So yeah, I like a range of music.
And did you play much music before you came to Longroad? What was your musical experience before you joined?
So when I was younger, I used to be in choirs and everything, and then I did music GCSE, and I had music lessons before that as well. So coming here just kind of felt what I wanted to do, because I knew that I really enjoyed music.
That's great. And so what was it that made you want to study music here then? Why did you decide on Longroad and the course that we offered here?
Well, I really liked the atmosphere of the course. Like, I really liked that we could learn about business elements as well as performing elements. I thought it was really useful that those two were like joined together. And also there was such a range of students who came on the open days who played like so many different instruments. Like in our class there's a rapper, and then there's like classical musicians. So I think it's really good that you can work with so many different people.
And what have you enjoyed most about studying at Longroad since you started?
I think working with different people, because obviously a lot of different people have different ideas, and it's really interesting to work with everyone and see how they work. And yeah, I really like that.
So would you say that it's the group work, the practical group work that you've enjoyed the most?
Yeah, I like the practical group work quite a lot. I also found it really interesting about when we did event planning. I found that quite interesting as well.
What kind of elements of the event planning were you having to do? Was there anything that surprised you, or anything that you're really glad that you learned in terms of the event planning?
So I found it really interesting, all the research, because we have to do research before it. So you found out about all the different types of like the different types of what's the word? Like the equipment that you need. So you had to research all the different types of equipment for different venues or different types of event. I thought that was really interesting.
Great. And what are you hoping to do once you've finished studying at Longroad, Jasmine?
I'd like to continue with music at the university. I was considering actually BIM, which is one of the universities that came in to speak to us. So yeah, I'd like to carry on with music, definitely.
It's great. Good to hear. Thank you very much, Jasmine, for coming and speaking to us this evening. So just to finish off with a few final pieces of information, we could have the next slide, Chris. Thank you. So as Jasmine pointed out, this course could be a route onto university or music college. Like I say, this qualification is the equivalent to an A-level. So in terms of a UCAS application, it would count as an A-level. It would also equip you for moving into employment or to potentially an apprenticeship. And there are several apprenticeships available within the music industry that are worth looking into if that's something that you think might interest you. Recently, we've had students who have gone on to study music at university. For example, we've got a student currently, an ex-student studying commercial music at Bath Spa, and also a student studying music at Canterbury Christ Church University. We do also have a couple of students who are studying music at Music College. One student went on to do songwriting at BIM. We've also got a student who is studying guitar at Music College. But also we have students who have gone on to study other subjects at university. For example, last year we had a student who went on to study law at Manchester, and also a student who is now studying computing at Loughborough. So don't feel that you should only take this course if you want to study music after your sixth form. This course will equip you for other courses as well because of the transferable skills that we learn. Thanks, Chris. So hopefully we will be able to meet you again at a couple of upcoming dates. In June next year, there will be applicant welcome days. So if you choose to apply to Long Road, then you will be invited to a welcome day in June, and you'll have the opportunity to go on a tour of the college, to have a look around, to speak to teachers and current students. But also, if you apply to do music, then that is when you would do your audition. So as well as finding out more about the course, you'll also be invited to play a piece to me and some other applicants, just so that we can have a look at you as a musician, and make sure that the music course is going to be the right course for you. And also in June next year, we'll be having, hopefully, our normal summer open evenings. They're designed for Year 10 students, but obviously you'd be welcome to come along if you wanted another opportunity to have a look around, even though you'll already have applied by that point. So just finally, the application deadline for Long Road is the 12th of January. And that is in order for you to join Long Road in September 2021. You can see there are a couple of email addresses there and a phone number that you can use if you've got any questions following this evening that you want to follow up. And if you've got questions that are specific to the course, then they will be able to forward those on to me, and I'll be able to answer those in a bit more detail for you. But thanks very much for coming along. Hopefully I've managed to answer some of your questions and give you some insight into music at Long Road, and hopefully I will see you all again soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.